United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Here.
Crowe,
Here.
Jerry Sartain,
Here.
Joe Shoto,
Here.
Michael Rather, Jared Barrett,
Here.
Dane Cantrell.
Present.
We have a quorum and all voting members are present, sir.
You have the minutes that were mailed out to you. Are there any changes or additions to the minutes?
Move to be approved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion that be approved. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. The minutes are approved. We have a short agenda tonight. Let me explain to you how we will proceed with this. We will have a report from our staff, and once the report is completed, we'll ask those of you who have a request before us to come to the podium and give any additional information you may have about your request. And we may have some questions from the board on those items. After that, we will have a public hearing on each item. We ask that you try to keep your comments within 3 minutes. And let me remind you, we have studied most all of these that come to us in detail. And so just give us the information that you'd really like for us to have if you are speaking at the public hearing. The first item we have is a request by David Bennett, and this is a request for a variance relief on the side yard setback. And what do you have on that, please?
Application 2014-60 involves the property located at 1302 Rhonda Drive. It's a .36 acre parcel in the RM zone, and they are seeking variance relief to reduce the 5-foot side yard setback for accessory structures by 4.5 feet to 1/2 foot for this property. This is the subject property. There's a single-family home and a detached accessory structure, and this is the structure in question. It was discovered after this structure was built that it actually extended past the common property line, and this the aerial here does not reflect that a home has been constructed on this property. But since the developer still controls the site, the applicant was able to get with the developer, and they are going to, are in the process of having the lot replatted in order for the structure to be located on the applicant's property in its entirety. That being said, even with the additional property acquisition, the structure still is in violation of the 5-foot detached accessory structure setback that's required, and they are coming before you for the variance. And we had one informational call on this particular application. We posted a sign on the property, and this is the main residence on the property, surrounding properties, and then the subdivision. This is the home that has just been constructed on the vacant parcel that you see in the aerial, and this is the affected property owner. And this is the structure in question. As you can see, it's placed behind the existing residence, and it looked like they, took the direction of the property line into account. It was just wrong and not discovered until after it was finished. And this is the space between the new structure and the structure in question. And like I said, this is in the process of being reviewed and replatted, and if the board approves the zoning variance request, a note will be added to the plat before it's recorded. And we found that it met the criteria for variance approval. And that concludes our presentation.
Do we have anyone here representing this request? We do. Would you come around, please, to the podium? If you'll give us your name and any additional information, please.
My name's Jack Goodrich. I'm with SEC. I drew the final plat, and I'm handling this. We have the owner, David Bennett, right here, and Lee Douglas is the owner of the house next door that was just built. And we'll be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Have any questions? Jerry?
Well, I know that now the second house is when this was found. Maybe this is a question for Danielle. Why, before we closed the first one, did we not find it? What caused it to be found? Okay.
When Lee had SEC come and do the property lines again, we noticed that.
Excuse me, I know you've been introduced, but if you'll state your name
Oh,
when you speak.
David Bennett.
Thank you.
When Lee had the property lines redrawn, SEC came out and pulled the property lines before he started building. We noticed when we purchased the property, it was already built, the house as well as the detached garage. It was the stake that was shown there was shown that we had a 5-foot variance. I don't know if that was a mistake on the builder. I tried to get him to come and represent it. He declined to come and refused to return my calls past that point. So that's when we found that it was incorrect.
Keith?
So all of this, your home was built, the garage and all was all built at one time,
Yes, sir.
and it was built over the line, and the contractor did.
The building's not, the overhang is over the line. The overhang on the detached garage is what extended over the property line, not the actual building itself.
Okay.
Yeah, got one question. Who was the original surveyor on this property?
That I would not know. That would be a question for Tory May, who was the builder in HMR Homes.
SEC, the developer of the subdivision was Brian Morris, and SEC developed the subdivision with them. We drew all the plans, got them approved and everything.
Who was the contractor?
Brian has his, let's see, what it says. He's got a contractor that works for him, Brent Davis. Is probably the contractor that built that subdivision.
I guess I want to clarify something. So really, all the property lines were right with this lot. Is like with everything, all the other ones. The only thing about it, this one was whoever the contractor was, that's when the mistake was made, when he got the garage too close to the property line.
When we record a final plat, we're required to set iron pins on all the property corners, of course, and the builder, whoever the builder was, is not required to get us to come out and set the building corners. However, I wish they were, but we could save a lot of trouble.
Okay, I just want to make one final statement, I'll be through. And I think everything we've looked at with the scenario you all have came up with, that's going to give them still a 5 foot off the property line, but it's going to still keep the other lot in compliance with the 15,000 square foot roof of the property.
That's correct.
Okay.
One reason we really can't move the property, when you start moving property lines, you have a problem with square footage. And in this case, on the close-up, you could see there's utilities on the front lot corner. They're right on that lot line. So if we don't know where the utilities are when they go into the lot.
This would be,
Telephone and cable.
okay, so this would be the best case scenario that we can do without having them to remove the garage, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Joe?
That's a very nice subdivision, and you're only going to be 1/2 foot off of the next line, right?
That's correct. The overhang.
Well, you should have a total of 10 foot between the buildings. You're gonna wind up with 5 foot and 5.5 foot.
I would have to, get on my computer and measure. There's more than 15 feet between these buildings.
Between the buildings. Okay, half a foot is awful close to the line. Thank you a lot.
Jerry?
Just one, only real question I got is, to move this does not create another hardship upon the neighbor of the house the second house has been built?
That's correct.
It doesn't create a hardship for you? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. You may be seated. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. Close the public hearing. We have a motion on it.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion be approved.
Have a motion to be approved.
I'll second.
Have a second. Call the roll, please.
Keith Bradshaw,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Joe Machoto,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
It is approved. The next item we have is a request by Micah and Nicholas Hoffman, and this has to do with the exemption approval of an accessory dwelling unit that does not meet design standards. And what do you have on that, please?
Thank you. Application 2014-61 involves the property located at 926 Esquire Court. It is a .65 acre parcel, and they are seeking special exception approval for an accessory dwelling that does not meet the design standards for ADUs involving this property, which is located in the RM zone. This is the subject property and the existing single-family residence. They are appearing before the board because to have the ability to develop an ADU by right, you have to have a minimum of 1 acre, and this site is shy of 1 acre. And the applicant would like to construct the accessory dwelling unit towards the rear of the property and along this property boundary, and it will be designed to match the existing structure. We have received an informational call regarding the application, and there was concern as to whether they were seeking a setback, and they are not. They will be required to provide a 5-foot setback from for the detached accessory structure. And this is the adjacent property, the surrounding neighborhood. And like I said, the applicant has supplied us with a conceptual plan and elevations of the proposed structure and a floor plan. So you'll see that it will have both living and bathroom facilities. And the site plan supplied by the applicant. We found that it met the criteria for special exception approval, and that concludes our presentation.
Do we have anyone here representing this request? If you'll come around, please. You'll give us your name and any additional information you want to share with this.
Nick Hoffman, and there's really, at this time, no additional information, barring your questions.
Have any questions? Jerry?
Is this going to be for family? Why would you not put an ADU attached to your home?
That's a good question. We already have, we could attach it, but based on where everything's kind of laid out within the house, just the flow of the house wouldn't make sense, but also it gives her her own living space, her own personal space, and we felt that was more appropriate.
All I need to know.
Joe?
This is for your mother, right?
Her mom.
Her mother. What happens when your mother no longer lives there?
It just becomes additional area. It's just
Is it going to be a rental property?
put that in the proposal. There can't be rental property.
Sir, I'm hard of hearing.
No, we put that in the proposal. It can't be rental property.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. You may be seated. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. Close the public hearing. We have a motion on it.
I move we approve it.
Have a motion to be approved.
Second.
Have a second. Call a roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Joe Machota,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes. Excuse me.
Motion carried, sir.
The chair recognizes Keith Bratcher.
I just want to say, I know that's all our meeting, our applications tonight. I just want to make a little brief statement. This will be my last Board of Zoning meeting. Beginning next month, y'all have a new member. Just want to say, the Board of Zoning is a very tough, sometimes tough board to serve on. But I will say, you know, we all work together most of the time to have, I guess, a favorable outcome for everyone involved. I'd like to thank Mr. DeMasi and his staff, Danielle and Terry. You always keep us all straight up here in what we're supposed to be doing. I'd also like to thank the County Commission for allowing me to serve for the last 9 years on this board. I think I've served very honorably and respectfully. And I guess last but not least, I'd like to thank all the board members that I've served with. Our chairman, Zane Cantrell, I've served with him the whole time I've been on here. Jerry Sartain, Joe Machota, and my buddy Joe Crowell. Mr. Webb, you know, he's no longer here. I served with him for my entire time on here. But anyway, it's been interesting. I've enjoyed it, and I'm around. I've on some other things, so I'll definitely be seeing everybody around. So anyway, I just like to thank everybody. Thank you.
Keith, thank you. You've done an outstanding job on the board. We appreciate that, and you'll certainly be missed. And you've been what I consider one of the most observant of the rules of this board that we've ever had here. So we wish you well. And I know we will see you around because you've got so many things going on. And you take care and you come back anytime. Joe?
Keith, I'd like to say thank you. I've learned a lot from you. I've listened to a lot of your statements and all, and I've picked up a lot from you, and I thank you for your service.
Joe Crowell?
Keith, I'd like to say thank you. I've never sat with a more honorable man than beside of you. I've been with you 7 years, and I have been a privilege to sit beside of you. And I've never seen you vote any direction that I wouldn't vote. And I really will miss you. You're my buddy.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Jerry?
Keith, appreciate your input. You know, we don't always agree, but that's what we're here for, is to discuss and go things, do through things together. And I appreciate all.
Anyone else?
Thanks, Keith, for your years of service, and I've learned quite a bit just sitting here listening to you all these years, so I appreciate it.
Thank you for all. We had a good meeting today, a short meeting, and we deserve one at least every once in a while. We are adjourned.